Okay, so now they want us to find the unknown angle measured to the nearest degree on the guided practice. So this is like what we did on the notes, on the front of the notes, where we have our inverse trig ratios. But even then, we still have to remember SOHCAHTOA. So I'm going to go in and write it up here. You probably don't want to write it this big on top, so maybe I'll write it where it'd be good for y'all to write it. So, SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. Okay. So they want us to find angle R first. There's R. So the 8.9 that they give us. Oh, let me back up. What should we do first? Now that I know the angle, label the legs. Leg. Okay, so the 8.9 they gave us. That's the leg that's across from the angle. So that means this is opposite. The 3.1 they gave us, that's the leg that's next to the angle. So it's adjacent. Which one uses opposite and adjacent? That would be tangent. Since we're finding angles, this would be the inverse. So we're going to have to do tangent inverse of the opposite, which is 8.9, over the adjacent, which is 3.1. Now we can type that in our calculator. Tangent inverse 8.9 divided by 3.1. Round to the nearest degree, so that would be 71 degrees. Now for P, you could do, this is one way to do it is to just reverse it. So you can still do a trig ratio. I'm going to say, you know what? My right angle is 90. R is 71. So just do 90 plus 71. Which gets you 161, and then subtract that from 180. So 19. So measure of angle P is 19 degrees. Okay, number 3, find the lengths. So here we were finding angle measures. Now we're finding lengths. This is the normal trig ratios. Okay, 3 asks us to find AB. There's AB. Circle the angle they give you. And label your legs. Okay, so now let's figure out which trig ratio we're going to have to use. So we want to find one of the legs, and it's the leg that's next to the angle. That means it's the adjacent leg. The 7.4 is your hypotenuse. So which one uses adjacent and hypotenuse? That'd be cosine. So again, this is the normal cosine. So cosine of 32 degrees equals x over 7.4. 7.4 is on the bottom, so that's what I multiply on both sides. Let's cancel. We're going to have 7.4 times the cosine 32 equals x. Is x by itself? Yes. So we can type it in the calculator. To the nearest hundredth means 2 decimal places. So 6.26. No. What am I talking about? 6.28. 6.28. And they don't have units, so I'm just going to leave it as 6.28. Okay, so then let's look at BC now. So I don't want anything with AB anymore. I want BC. That's going to be that side. This time it's the opposite. It's across from the angle. So which one uses opposite and hypotenuse? OH. It's going to be sine. So sine of 32 equals x over 7.4. Multiply by 7.4 on both sides. Those cancel. We get 7.4 times the sine 32 equals x. Is x by itself? Yes. So let's type it in the calculator. .92. Now, I didn't mention this during the lesson, but let's say you wanted to see if this, let's say you wanted to see if these are the right sides. Like you don't know, you think they are, but you just want to check. Well, you can do a rough estimate of the Pythagorean theorem and check it in your calculator. So get this, go up and grab, I'll do it again, that way y'all can see what I did. Let me delete it. Go up and grab the previous number and square it, plus, go arrow up, grab that number, square it, and enter. 54.76. The side they gave us was 7.4, so c squared should be 7.4 squared. Do these numbers match? Yes, the Pythagorean theorem checks out. So we know our sides are correct. Excuse me. Okay. Number 5. The slope part of the football field that says John Outlaw Memorial Field has a grade of 8%. So if you've been to the football stadium, it's at like that purple area that's up against the student parking lot. This is the area I'm talking about. It has a grade of 8%. To the nearest degree, what angle does the hill make with the horizontal line? This is like that switchback problem on the notes. They're talking about grades of hills. So remember, we have to turn this into a fraction. 8% is the same as saying 8 over 100, which that's slope. So rise over run. 8 over 100. Go up 8 over 100. Here's our right angle. This is what we're trying to find. So, if you label your legs, leg, this 8 is opposite, the 100 is adjacent. So which trig ratio uses opposite and adjacent? That would be cosine. Not, what am I talking about? That'd be tangent. I'm looking at tangent and then said cosine. Really? Opposite and adjacent is tangent. So since I'm finding the angle means inverse. Angle means inverse. So I'm going to do the tangent inverse of 8 over 100. Tangent inverse of 8 over 100. 4.57, and what's it say? Nearest degree. Nearest degree would be 5 degrees. Okay, there we go. Next one. Says after building the ramp for Daisy Mae's grandmother, Tommy Joe read that excuse me, for maximum accessibility, a wheelchair ramp should have a slope between 1 over 16 and 1 over 20. What is the range of angle measures that a ramp should make with the horizontal line? So basically, this is like number 5. For one, we're dealing with angles, so we're going to have to use the inverse. But these are fractions. So this is really saying rise over run. I mean, 1 over 16. Rise 1 over 16. And we're wanting to find the angle with the horizontal line. Well, there's a right angle right there. So this 1 would be opposite. The 16 would be adjacent. Which one uses opposite and adjacent? Tangent. So we're going to have to do the tangent inverse of 1 over 16. And see what that equals. And it says to the nearest degree, so we're going to say 3.5 is 4 degrees. So there's that one. Now, it's going to be the same process, except instead of 1 over 16, you're going to have 1 over 20. So I'm not even going to draw a new picture. I'm just going to write it here. Tangent inverse of 1 over 20, because it's the same process. .86 degrees rounds to 3 degrees. So the range is from 3 degrees to 4 degrees. That's the angle it should make, 3 degrees to 4 degrees. Okay, so that's the guided practice. You've got 9 problems next where you're just plugging it in the calculator and rounding how it asks you to. Excuse me. And then you have some like we did on the guided practice. And then a few word problems. Of course, it's again going to be about Tommy Joe, of course. Who else would it be about? But these word problems look almost exactly like the ones we just did on the guided practice. So don't sit there and you're like, oh, I don't like word problems. We just did these 2 on the guided practice, 5 and 6. 22 and 23 are almost identical. I promise you. You can do them. 24 asks you to think a little bit. But you can do it too. I promise you. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put a comment in Google Classroom or email me. I'll be happy to help you. So with that being said, remember, you are awesome and you are created to do great things. Always believe.